is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Now at 5 o'clock on Good Morning Indiana, lots of snow blanketing much of central Indiana this morning. With 4 inches of snow, the plows are now working to clear the roads, and many schools are calling in delays. It is 5 o'clock here on your Monday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Meredith Barrett.
And I'm Lauren Casey. We want to bring in Todd Clausen right now and talk about what we're seeing in the forecast right now. We got all that snow overnight. And Todd, were you riding your bike around last night?
Yeah, I love being out in the snow. It's peaceful. It was like the nice fresh blanket, so it wasn't dirty yet. Yeah. So whenever it snows, I go out and I walk or ride my bike.
But now, roughly, 12 hours later? Yeah. A bit of a different story out there.
It's getting a little sloppier now, obviously, with the salt on the roadways and the slush. But we need to know as you walk out the door right now, it's not so much what's falling from the sky, it's what's on the ground that you need to be worried about. So we're kind of in between the 2 waves of precipitation, the one that brought us the snow here overnight, and now we're waiting for the next wave to come in later on this afternoon and this evening. So this morning, we're dealing with some patchy drizzle. Could be a few flurries out there. As we work our way throughout the afternoon hours, that rain-snow mixture will kind of pick back up. And then by this evening, it's mainly snow in many locations. But currently, this is what's going on across the area. There's a few flurries and drizzle that I mentioned, but no significant precipitation for your morning commute. That is the good news. As we expand out, there's the first wave that went through last night and early this morning. We'll await this next wave of precipitation heading our way later on this afternoon, and this one too will start to bring us some additional precipitation. To the south, though, it's probably a wintry mix, but it fills in with snow here across much of the metro area, right along I-70 throughout much of the afternoon. South of Bloomington, it's a rain-snow mixture before it goes back over to all snow later on tonight and into tomorrow morning's commute, and we will see additional accumulation later on today. That's why the National Weather Service upgraded the winter weather advisory to a winter storm warning here for many of the counties in and around the metro area. On either side of that is still the winter weather advisory. We'll talk more about the specific snow accumulations for you coming up in just a few minutes. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Let's take a look right now at our traffic now maps. You can see that traffic here is moving along smoothly for the most part. A lot of the crashes we were monitoring earlier today have been cleared at this hour, so that is great news if you are heading out there. But this is something we'll continue to monitor as more and more people head out there. We may have more slide-offs and issues. Right now, your drive time heading in from the northwest side, it's traveling about up to speed from I-65 down to I-70 at the north split, a 19-minute commute. However, I'd still give yourself at least 10 to 15 extra minutes this morning so you can take it a little bit more slow on the roads. Let's take a look right now from our live drive vehicle. Our Kelsey Anderson is behind the wheel right now on Keystone Avenue heading southbound. Kelsey, what are things looking like out there for you guys right now?
Well, so far on our way over here, like I said earlier, the interstates looked very clear, but of course there were still some slushy and slick spots to watch out for. But now we're on Keystone Avenue again, heading southbound, and there is still, you can see here, a lot of stuff still on the road. I mean, they're pretty clear, but things that want to make you take caution, slow down, give some extra room between you and the driver ahead of you, just in case there is anything that pops up that can catch you off guard. So again, don't let these clear roads fool you, because there are some slick spots. There's slush on the road that can toss your car to the side. So just make sure that you are slowing down and taking that extra 10 to 15 minutes, like you said, Lauren, to get to work this morning. But again, everything right now looks pretty clear. We are just hoping that people can stay cautious and stay smart on the roads this morning. But I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Kelsey, thanks. Stay safe out there. We are following a developing story out of Bloomington this morning. Indiana University investigating an incident at a fraternity. The school says the alleged incident happened Friday night at the Pi Kappa Phi fraternity, and it involved a physical assault along with anti-Semitic and racial slurs. Pi Kappa Phi has been placed on an organizational cease and desist, meaning its members cannot host or participate in activities at the fraternity while the investigation is ongoing. A search warrant has been executed and the victims have been interviewed. Detectives are working with the Monroe County Prosecutor's Office and their federal partners.
It's 5:05. Officials are scheduled to meet today to discuss those changes to a deadly Lebanon intersection. You can see it here. Their vote is coming after an RTV6 went to work seeking closure for that family. Sherry Dennis died at that intersection on County Road 100 South and County Road 400 East last month. Her family says the speed limit is 40 miles an hour, and even though it's a two-way stop, that intersection is hard to see. Boone County commissioners are proposing a change to the four-way stop, making it a four-way stop, and adding fines for any violations. They are scheduled to vote on this later this morning to approve those changes.
A new safe haven will soon be open for an at-risk group, and RTV6 got an early inside look. Trinity Haven is set to open next year as a first in Indianapolis, a place specifically for homeless LGBTQ youth. Their transitional home is raising money so when their doors do open, they'll be able to help those in need. Residents will be able to stay up to 2 years as they go to school and gain the skills they need to transition into successful adults.
The unfortunate reality is that Indianapolis doesn't have safe places for those youth to stay. None of the shelters are really particularly safe for LGBTQ and particularly transgender youth.
A fundraising concert for this past weekend is sold out and raised around $2,000 for the project, but Trinity Haven is always accepting help.
It is 5:06 as winter gets in full swing. The need is urgent for people who are experiencing homelessness. They need coats and blankets to help keep them warm. So to help, the Jane Pauley Health Center is holding a blanket drive to collect new and gently used clean blankets for Wheeler Mission. You can drop off your donations to any Jane Pauley Community Health Center. There are 22 different locations in 5 different counties, including 16 that are right here in Indianapolis. The drive has been extended through January 10th in order to get more donations.
The reason why we're holding the drive until January 10th is because we have such a need after the holidays. During the holidays, they get a surplus of blankets and coats and things like that. But when you get into the colder months in January and February, which are the absolute coldest in the state of Indiana, then we're lacking.
We provide a lot of primary care, behavioral health care, and dental to those same folks. And so what better way than to contribute back to them? And so the employees started a blanket drive to give donations back to the Wheeler Mission.
Right now, Wheeler Mission also has an urgent need for men's coats. They're looking for all sizes. You can drop those off at the Men's Residential Center located on Delaware Street.
Neighbors, friends, and even Santa joined to bring together holiday cheer to a local hero during his toughest fight. Brian Holland is a veteran Anderson firefighter and is battling brain cancer. Last night, fellow firefighters, police, and community members met at Holland's house to sing Christmas carols. Santa and 2 of his reindeer also stopped by.
This is awesome. This really says a lot. I appreciate everything everybody's done tonight for us. It's hard to hold back tears.
What a great show of support there. Holland served with the fire department for more than 2 decades. Community members say they were happy to show support for one of their own. And it looks like they got that taken care of before all that snow started falling last night, Todd.
Yeah, over 4 inches of snow at the airport and in many locations in and around the metro area. And we will add to that as we go throughout the course of the day today. So as we break down the Storm Team 6 alert day for you, it's pretty quiet right now. That's the good news for your morning commute. You're not going to encounter any precipitation falling from the sky that's going to cause any issues. You'll pick up a little patchy drizzle, maybe a flurry or two, but it's basically what's on the road that is your issue here this morning. As we work our way into the evening drive then and beyond, that is when we are going to start to run into issues once again across the area as we start to bring in additional snowfall to the area. So here's what it looks like right now on Storm Team 6 radar. Again, there's not a whole lot of anything going on, but this is the storm system off to our west, the second wave, I should say, that is going to be heading in our direction. So additional accumulation will be likely. The National Weather Service has upgraded the winter weather advisory to a winter storm warning, or that will go into effect later on this afternoon for another 1 to 3 inches of accumulation right through the heart of central Indiana. Get on either side of that band of 1 to 3 inches, though, and you're looking at probably an inch or less of snow, only because you don't see the snow reaching northern locations here this afternoon. afternoon. And then southern locations, you're going to mix in with a little bit of rain. But, of course, Storm Shield, a great tool to have. I was using it last night to track the snow into the area. And then this morning, it may have woken you up with that winter storm warning that got issued for the area. We'll talk more about the timeline using TrueCast for you coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. A full vote on impeachment is expected to happen this week. Coming up, the rules lawmakers are discussing for a possible Senate trial.
And actress Loughlin making new claims in the college admissions scandal, why she says the government is hiding evidence.
And we are keeping a close eye on your commute right now from our live drive vehicle here on Keystone Avenue, where you can see we have some slush out there, but it looks like crews have been salting and plowing these streets. Kelsey Anderson in the passenger seat telling me that they've run into a lot of vehicles just abandoned on the side of the roads, where people have been having some issues. So watch out for those as you're heading out there and use caution today. We'll be right back after the break.
Airing Hoosiers only on RTV6.
Welcome back. It is 5:13. We're keeping a close eye on traffic as you're heading out there this morning. Here's a look on the south side, I-65 and Edgewood Avenue. You can see traffic is moving along okay here on the interstate. A heads up, though, we do have several school delays at this hour. Several of those are in areas 2 hours south, like Johnson County, Greenwood, Center Grove, Franklin Community, Clark Pleasant, Edinburgh, all a part of that. We have all of those listed on the RTV6 app, and they are scrolling at the bottom of your screen.
Senators beginning to figure out what the rules should be for an impeachment Senate trial. Democrats are pushing for witnesses with firsthand knowledge of the Ukraine scandal to testify, but Republicans say a Senate trial is dead on arrival. ABC's Inez de la Catera is in Washington with the latest.
With the full House set to vote this week to impeach President Trump, lawmakers in the Senate are looking ahead to an all but certain Senate trial. In a letter, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer outlining his party's offer for what he calls a fair bipartisan process, pushing for testimony from White House officials who have direct knowledge of what happened in Ukraine. Mick Mulvaney, John Bolton, Michael Duffy, and Robert Blair, who all refused to participate in the House investigation.
I am clearly made up my mind. I'm not trying to hide the fact that I have disdain for the accusations in the process, so I don't need any witnesses.
Democrats slamming Republicans for saying they are in total coordination with the White House and arguing senators are supposed to render impartial justice.
I hope that the senators will insist on getting the documents, on hearing from the witnesses, on making up their own mind.
Meanwhile, a group of freshman House Democrats are encouraging House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to appoint independent Congressman Justin Amash as an impeachment manager to help argue Democrats' case in the Senate, hoping the Libertarian will appeal to a broader portion of the public. As for President Trump, he's venting about impeachment on Twitter, calling Pelosi crazy and writing her teeth were falling out of her mouth during a press conference.
The full House vote is expected to be held on Wednesday, and impeachment is expected to pass along party lines. But not all Democrats are on board. There are some lawmakers who are running for re-election in Trump districts who find themselves in a tricky position, with at least one of them, Congressman Jeff Van Drew from New Jersey, speaking out against impeachment and even considering switching parties. Inez de la Catera, ABC News, Washington.
Attorneys for actress Loughlin and her husband are accusing the government of hiding evidence in the college admissions scandal. Loughlin and her husband Massimo Giuliani are also accused of paying $500,000 to a fake charity to get their daughters into the University of Southern California. Their attorneys say the evidence shows that the couple believed that their payments would go to the school for legitimate approved purposes. Loughlin and her husband have pleaded not guilty to those charges.
Authorities in Washington state have arrested a man they say stole dozens of Christmas trees from a farm. The thief took 78 Fraser fir trees worth $6,000. Investigators are also accusing the man of stealing a truck and 2 trailers. The farm owner says the impact of the thefts will really be felt next year. They say it takes about 7 years for the trees to grow from sapling into a fully grown Christmas tree. And Todd, hopefully everyone across central Indiana has their outdoor decor up and all good to go, because I think they're out of luck now with all the snowfall we had.
You know, and if you do have it up, up. It looked really, really pretty. I was walking down my street last night, and you could see the lights coming through the snow with all my neighbors, and my house lit up. So it was beautiful out there. It might not be beautiful, though, now that you have to commute this morning. But the good news is, with the exception of a flurry and or some patchy drizzle on the Storm Team 6 alert day, there's really nothing additional falling from the sky that is going to hamper your morning drive. It's the slush that's on the ground and roads that haven't been plowed that is going to be an issue. But as we work our way into the afternoon hours, steady precip is going to return. Notice I used the word precip here because it's going to be a mixture of snow, probably maybe a little brief period of freezing rain in southern locations, and then plain old rain. It just really depends on where you live. And then as the colder air continues to come back in, more accumulating snow is possible this evening. So far, 4.3 inches of snow that fell at the airport. Very similar numbers at my home as far as the snowfall totals go. That did set a daily record yesterday at the airport, but we are going to add to this as we work our way into the afternoon and then evening and even into the overnight hours. And that's why the National Weather Service has upgraded the winter weather advisory to a winter storm warning for the counties you see here in this pinkish color. It includes all the counties along I-70 with the exception of Wayne County out in Richmond, and then basically a line of counties north and south of I-70. To the north, you don't really get back into the accumulating snow. To the south, that's where the mix is going to take place. The current picture shows just a few flurries and drizzle across the area. Otherwise, lots of clouds for your morning drive. Here's the snow from last night and this morning going off towards the east. The next wave, though, is going to come in during the afternoon hours. So it starts as a little bit of a wintry mix here in southern locations, and then as we progress into the afternoon and evening, so this is the heart of the evening drive, snow is moving back in from Indianapolis southward, south of Bloomington to Columbus and Seymour. It's rain, maybe a little bit of freezing rain. To the north, you kind of get cut off from the precipitation. So the further north you are, less in the way of snowfall, but the bulk of the accumulation will be after sunset into the early morning hours tomorrow. And we're talking about an additional 1 to 3 inches of snow here through a good portion of central Indiana, maybe even a little bit more in spots. But notice how it cuts off on either side of that with lower totals. So the temperatures today will hover right around freezing as the additional round of snow starts to make its way into the area, really ramping up here 4 o'clock onward into the remainder of the afternoon and into the evening hours. Once we get beyond today, we are going to have a pretty quiet weather pattern. Tomorrow we're looking at some snow in the morning hours, but then eventually we're going to start to see a pretty quiet weather pattern that's going to be taking place here for the remainder of this week and into next week, with temperatures moderating back up into the 40s by Friday and Saturday.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Here is a look right now at traffic from our INDOT traffic camera. This is over on the east side, I-465 near Washington Street in that area. You can see traffic here is moving along about up to speed on the interstates. They've gotten the salt out, they've plowed. You can see most of the lanes there are clear from any actual snow. That's not always the case, though, on secondary streets, so we want to check in right now on the progress of our live drive vehicle. Kelsey Anderson's in the passenger seat. Kelsey, talk to me a little bit about what you guys have been seeing out there.
So far we haven't seen much. Right now we are on Illinois Street heading north, and the roads are a little covered with slush, more than we've seen on other roads we've been on this morning, like 86th Street, Keystone Avenue, 465 and 65. But again, it's expected that these secondary roads aren't going to be as cleared as those interstates. So even on the interstates and on these secondary roads, take your time, use caution, because that's slush and there are slick spots. Those can slide you off the road in an instant. So again, just be cautious, take your time, leave plenty of room between you and the other drivers. And another thing we've seen so far this morning is abandoned vehicles. So make sure you're watching out for those. We saw one on Keystone Avenue kind of just parked in the middle of the right lane. So make sure you're watching out for that. A lot of people, we saw some people that didn't have headlights on this morning. Again, it's important to have headlights on every morning, but especially this morning when roads are so slick and unpredictable. And then also make sure that your windows and your windshields are cleared of snow this morning so you can see out of all points of your vehicle. But so far this morning, we haven't seen anything too bad, just reminding people to use caution on the roadways. For now, send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Kelsey, thank you so much for that update. We'll continue to check in with you guys out there. Be safe. An artist using a popular winter toy in his latest sculpture. Just after the break, how he's using broken sleds to send a message.
And the Disney magic is heading to the ice. Coming up in just minutes, we have your next chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to see Disney on Ice.
And here's a live look right now from our INDOT traffic camera. We are monitoring crashes and issues on your roads, and it looks like we have an incident here on the interstates. We're going to continue to monitor what's going on out there, and we'll, of course, keep you updated as you head out on the roads. Again, check school delays at the bottom of your screen and the RTV6 app. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It is 5:26, and we are keeping a close eye on traffic this morning as we have snowy streets for your Monday morning commute. And it looks like we have an issue. Police are at the scene, though. This is I-65 a little south of 38th Street. You can see we have slushy roads out there on the interstates. We'll continue to keep a close eye out for any delays. Right now, just give yourself that extra time so you can go below the speed limit.
A Nevada artist is using his creative skills to turn broken sleds into artwork. Mark Salinas says many people just leave their broken plastic sleds on the hills in Lake Tahoe, and the colorful pieces gave him an idea. He is creating a sled flake with it, and he hopes to send a message about protecting the environment. Sled corrals at the sledding hills help collect the pieces and keep the plastic from being left around. Now he's using those pieces to build his 8-foot art sculpture. Salinas says he hopes the work inspires people to consolidate their trash. Well, I hope we can see the final product.
I know.
Looks like it's working
the sleds look like the one from Christmas Vacation that had like the big hole in it. Oh
okay, there you go. There's a little preview.
That's cool.
Very cool. I'll be very interested to see that, and that'll definitely pop against the white snow there.
Yes.
So.
And a lot of things are popping against the snow. Tom's saying the lights, they look beautiful last night.
You know, it is beautiful, you know, when you don't have to go out in the snow if you don't want to and commute. You know, it's pretty to see fall from the sky and be on all the trees and the Christmas lights this time of year. The good news for your morning commute is the precipitation has kind of wound up for now. It's going to ramp back up as we go into the afternoon and evening hours. So the commute this morning, it's what's on the ground. That's your issue. This evening, though, winter storm warning will go into effect starting at 2 p.m. We'll talk about the additional snow heading our way coming up in the next half hour right here on Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 5:27. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
TV6 anchor Meredith Barrick. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Good morning. It's 5:30 on your Monday. We want to get straight to our weather coverage. As you can see, there is a lot to talk about today. Here's a look from our live drive vehicle. Kelsey Anderson is tracking those road conditions for your morning commute.
We will check in with her in just a moment, but first we want to get over to meteorologist Todd Clausen. Todd, we had this snowfall overnight, and we are expecting even more later today.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing. As you walk out the door this morning, we're just getting done, right, with this first round of snow, and you think, okay, I'm in the clear, and there isn't a whole lot falling from the sky right now. That is the good news, but more snow is heading our way later on. Here's the view from downtown IMS towards downtown Indianapolis, and if you look close, you can see the lights from the skyline. So that shows you there's no snow falling right now. Obviously, you have about 4 inches or a little bit more on the ground there on the track of IMS and all across central Indiana, but the current radar situation shows that there's not much out there. Yes, there is some patchy drizzle, probably a few flurries in and around, just so light that the radar cannot pick it up. However, we'll turn our attention off to the west, and very similar to yesterday evening, we'll see this next wave move in, and once it arrives, it comes in pretty quick. But in between now and say about 2 o'clock this afternoon, there's not a whole lot that is going to go on. But once this precipitation moves in, and I use the word precipitation because unlike yesterday's southern locations, Bloomington over towards the Greensburg area and points to the south, it probably starts as rain. It should be mainly just a snow event once again this afternoon for Indianapolis and points to the north, but there will be a pretty sharp cutoff in the precipitation in northern locations. But the heart of the central Indiana, Indianapolis, right along I-70, that's where we're targeting for another 1 to 3 inches of snow by time we get to tomorrow morning. So today's one of those days where the roads are slushy here this morning, but they'll become snow covered once again as we work our way into the afternoon and evening hours. More on the additional snow coming up in just a few minutes. Lauren.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. Here is a look right now from our INDOT traffic camera on the northwest side of town. This is I-65, a little south of 38th Street. We have a stalled truck over there in the right shoulder. Traffic is still getting by okay in that area, but just a heads up, you may run into a number of vehicles on the sides of the roads, some left overnight. That's what we're hearing from the folks in our live drive vehicle. Right now, let's plan out your commute, your drive times heading in from the south side where we have a lot of school delays this morning. Northbound State Road 37, it's a 14-minute drive from Greenwood at Stones Crossing Road up to I-465. A little bit of a delay as you're getting onto the ramp system there. And then over here on northbound I-65, a 10-minute drive from Southport Road to I-70 at the North Split. So that's traveling up to speed. However, you'll want to use caution. Let's take a look right now on the west side, I-70 here in Sam Jones Expressway. Traffic is moving along up to speed. The interstates in this area mostly clear from snow, so that is good news. Not always the case, though, on secondary streets, side streets. So for a look at how those are shaping up this morning, let's head out to our live drive vehicle. Kelsey Anderson, you're in the passenger seat. What are you guys seeing out there?
Hey, good morning. Yeah, so these side streets, secondary streets, they are still pretty snow covered. So right now we're on Illinois Street heading northbound. And what we're noticing is this road is decently cleared, but those intersecting roads have a little bit more snow cover on them. They look like they've just barely been touched, if at all, just by cars just driving over that snow. So again, these side streets, not very clear, but you know, still drivable. You just need to take extra caution. Again, slow down, leave extra room, all those things that we tell you every time it snows. And then we were over on a couple of the interstates this morning, and like you said, Lauren, they do look pretty clear already, but there is still the slush, there is still the opportunity for some slick spots. So even if it looks clear, it's just important to, again, slow down, take your time, and don't be in a rush this morning. Give yourself that extra 10 to 15 minutes to get to work. But for now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Kelsey, thank you. And before you hit the roads this morning, you may want to check the Indy Snow Force Viewer. The site gives you a real-time view of the streets in your area that have been cleared. We've got a link to that site on the RTV6 app. Here at 5:35, we want to catch you up on some developing news from the city's northwest side. Police are investigating after a man was found dead in a pond at an apartment complex. Officers responded to the Scarborough Lake Apartments near 46th and High School Road around 4 Sunday afternoon. First responders found the man unresponsive, and he was pronounced dead at the scene. Homicide detectives have taken over, but the case is still being called a death investigation. The man's name and his cause of death have not yet been released.
It is 5:35. An Indiana appeals court has overturned a Washington County man's murder conviction, saying police failed to honor his Miranda rights. Joshua Reisinger was found guilty but mentally ill after a 2017 fire at his trailer killed a homeless man. He appealed, arguing the trial court wrongly allowed statements made to police after he said he was done talking. The Indiana Court of Appeals agreed. Reisinger's attorney says the court's decision is essential to affording people the right to remain silent.
A Speedway family is trying to figure out how to move forward after a fire destroyed almost everything they owned and forced them out of their home. The fire happened on Girard Avenue Thursday night. Mark McCammon says when he investigated the smell, he couldn't see any visual signs of a fire. But when he looked outside, smoke was pouring from the roof. He got his mother, who was in her 70s and battling dementia, out of the house and called 911. The fire was put out, but the home will need extensive repairs that could take months. McCammon says the hardest part is making sure his mother is taken care of while he tries to pick up the pieces.
My mother's, it's very difficult for her. She doesn't understand why she can't come home. Finding somewhere to stay is tough too at this time, wondering what we're going to do there and trying to get mother to be taken care of.
Mark was in the process of buying the home, so unfortunately he did not have renter's insurance. One of his friends has set up a GoFundMe account to try to help the family get back on their feet. We've put a link to that on the IndyChannel.com.
A Fisher's family says an antique Santa decoration was stolen from outside of their home, and they're just one of several families saying that a thief targeted their holiday decorations. Take a look at this doorbell video taken near 131st and Promise Road in Fishers. You can see the light up Santa. It's lit up, and then you see the arms there. The lights go out, and then someone takes off with the decoration. Colby Smothers tells us this Santa had been in his family for 50 years, passed down from his grandparents, who have both since passed away.
It showed somebody drove by very slowly, and then within the next minute or so, you can see arms reaching from behind the garage and just pulling the Santa away. We had the Santa staked into the ground, so it wasn't an easy nab. We'll still put out decorations and just hope that people don't suck as much.
Well, Colby says this theft happened on Wednesday around 1 a.m. and during that same time frame, another neighbor captured a similar silver older model SUV in that neighborhood. A woman was on that neighbor's porch rummaging around. 2 others have posted on the Nextdoor app claiming that their decorations were also stolen. Now, we've reached out to Fishers Police to see just how many people in that area were targeted.
7 months after being shot and attacked while on the job, IMPD officer Eric Rosenbaum still has not been cleared to return to work. But that did not stop him from joining several of his fellow officers in an annual act of giving. Saturday, a record number 350 families benefited from the Indianapolis Fraternal Order of Police Shop with a Cop event. Children too young to attend or in foster care had officers as their personal shoppers filling clothing and toy requests. Officer Greenbaum says it's an event he looks forward to every year.
A lot of times when we come into contact with people, it's not on the best terms or, could be the worst day of their life. But being able to do something like this, it's rejuvenating not only for us, but for the kids to be able to come together.
The kids in attendance packed 100 boxes to be distributed to the Midwest Food Bank. Officers will pass out gifts to children unable to attend Saturday's event. A great story there.
Well, it's the Colts and the Saints on Monday Night Football right here on RTV6. Our countdown to kickoff show begins at 7:30. Sports Director Dave First, Brad Brown, and former Colt Brian Diem will discuss this big matchup. And the Colts and the Saints, they're going to kick off at 8:15. It's all tonight right here on RTV6. Here at 5:39, as the kids are heading out to the bus stop, Todd, we know several districts are on 2-hour delays, but several of them are not. So what should they expect?
As you walk out the door, the snow is basically done falling for now across the area. So for your morning commute, essentially, it's what's on the ground. It's what's at the bus stop that is going to be the issue. Make sure when you're walking on the sidewalk or on the street, you're just very, very careful. And there's a little bit of freezing drizzle that's possible this morning, but it's nothing more than a little bit of drizzle. It's really this afternoon, though, that will start to ramp back up the snow chances across the area with a temperature of 32. If you've been watching for your county at the top of the screen, you notice some have winter storm warnings, some winter weather advisories. As the additional accumulating snow comes in, that is when the National Weather Service is going to upgrade from the advisory to the warning for some counties, including Marion County and all the counties around it, starting at 2 p.m. This is the current situation. You notice most of the precipitation has fallen off here this morning. Again, a little bit of drizzle and or a flurry is definitely going to be a possibility. But it is a Storm Team 6 alert day, not only for the slick commute this morning, but look how your precipitation chances ramp back up as we head into the afternoon and especially this evening hours. It's not all snow, though, for everybody. We'll break down where the dividing line is between that rain and snow coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. The ousted Kentucky governor under fire for pardoning hundreds of criminals in his final days. Hear why some, including members of his own party, are now calling for an investigation into his decision.
Hallmark is backing away from its own ban. Why the company is now apologizing after pulling a controversial ad. The time right now is 5:41. Here's a live look right now on the northwest side where we have a stalled truck there. Crews working that scene on the southbound lanes of I-65. We'll continue to keep an eye out for any crashes, delays, slide-offs this morning. We're going to break down everything we see out there so you can plan ahead. That's coming up when we come back just after the break.
Older.
Would you let go your ego?
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. We have live drive out on the roads right now, tracking your commute. You can see the slush out there right now. We have a growing list of school delays right now at the bottom of your screen and in the RTV6 app. We can tell you at this hour, IPS and Carmel have joined that growing list of delays. Brown County deciding to close their doors completely today for school. So before you send the kids out there to the bus stop, check that list because it is ever changing this morning and we are keeping it updated.
Former Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin is under fire for issuing hundreds of pardons and commutations during his final days in office.
A number of them were violent offenders, including a child rapist, a man who killed his parents, and a mother who dumped her newborn in a septic tank. The more than 400 pardons and commutations were issued after Bevin lost his bid for re-election to Democrat Andy Beshear last month. Lawmakers in the state are now calling for an investigation, saying that political favoritism may have played a role in Bevin's decision. In one case, the family of a pardoned man raised more than $20,000 last year to help Bevin.
We have someone who was convicted of killing someone in front of his wife at his home, who pulled the trigger. Bottom line, if it looks like a duck and talks like a duck, you got to look into whether or not it's a duck.
In a 20-part Twitter message, Bevin defended his decision, saying in part, quote, "Not one person receiving a pardon would I not welcome as a co-worker, neighbor, or to sit beside me, or any member of my family in a church pew or at a public event," end quote. Well, it has been 1 week since the deadly volcanic eruption here on New Zealand's White Island, and this morning the search continues for the bodies of 2 people who are still missing. 47 people were visiting that island when the volcano erupted, and most of them were tourists. 16 people have been confirmed dead. Among the victims, people from Australia, the United States, Britain, China, Germany, Malaysia, and New Zealand. Following a moment of silence held for the victims today, Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern offered her condolences to the victims' families and gave an update on this investigation, saying it's going to take about a year to complete.
What started as a dare between friends is now an annual tradition with more than 700 people. The Santa Speedo Run in Boston celebrated its 20th year Saturday. The race raises money for the Play Ball Foundation, which provides Boston middle school students with a chance to play and build friendships through sports. Participants must commit to fundraising a minimum of $250 in order to run the race. You also had to dress minimally. Those who attend in support of the runners are asked to make a $20 donation. Over the last 20 years, nearly $2 million has been raised for local children in need. Those are some brave souls out there. I'm assuming, Todd, Boston is experiencing maybe some similar weather than we're having right now.
You know, the snow that we've been dealing with is heading in that direction, but that race is in the books, so it looks like it was a dry one for them, but I remember when they did that Cupid run, similar here in downtown Indianapolis a few years ago. All right, outside right now, we're dealing with quiet conditions, but it is still a Storm Team 6 alert day because you see the snow falling here. More is heading in our direction. Now, this morning, we're getting a break from the precipitation for the most part. There's still a little drizzle out there. There's still a few flurries, but nothing that's going to really impact the roadways. But the snow will return later on this afternoon and into the evening hours, and that's why some areas have been upgraded to winter storm warnings from the National Weather Service. I'll show you those here in just a second. But you notice how the precipitation is really quieted down across the area. Again, there's some freezing drizzle out there. Don't be shocked if you see a flurry. But your main issue for your commute this morning is what is on the ground currently. So here's that wave of precipitation that went through, which was mainly snow for us. Over 4 inches are reported at the airport officially. But we'll wait for this next wave of rain and snow to make its way into our area later on this afternoon and into the evening hours. So this winter storm warning will start at 2 p.m. and that's for all the counties you see in pink. So essentially it's right along I-70, a row of counties to the south, a row of counties to the north. For the most part, there's a few exceptions. Everybody else under the winter weather advisory. You notice no advisories to Peru. For those of you in extreme northern locations, as this precipitation comes in, you're essentially going to get cut off there in northern locales. So by 2:30, 3 o'clock, the rain is moving into southern locations, and that's a difference. That we'll be dealing with some rain here in southern locales with this event, but the snow will overspread much of the central portion of the state for the evening commute. So plan ahead. This morning, slushy. Later on this afternoon, roads will likely be snow covered once again, especially once that sun sets. Then the snow will continue throughout the evening hours. Again, a sharp cutoff to the north, to the south. You mix in some rain, and then eventually everybody goes over to all snow. snow on the backside of it as it starts to wrap up on Tuesday. Additional accumulation. This is on top of what we've had already. About 1 to 3 inches for a good chunk of the area. Once you get from Bloomington to Greensburg, points to the south, maybe up to an inch of snow on the backside. Remember, you mix in with the rain, and then from Lafayette to Peru, not a whole lot in the way of additional precipitation, just because the snow's not going to make it that far to the north. Tomorrow's forecast, the snow should be done by time we get into the morning hours, and then we get the sun back, but temperatures still remain pretty chilly across the area, with highs that'll be right around 31 degrees, only 20s for highs on Wednesday, and then we do moderate the temperatures back up into the 40s for Friday and Saturday. But once we get past tonight and into early morning hours tomorrow, it's a pretty quiet weather pattern that'll take us all the way into the week of Christmas.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. Here's a look at our traffic maps right now. A little bit deceiving because everything looks pretty green. You can see some yellow out there. That's not due to any delays. It's just due to you needing to take your speed a little bit slower below the speed limit to be safe this morning. We do have one ramp restriction issue here, northbound I-65 at 38th Street. A stalled vehicle in there blocking part of the ramp, so just a heads up if you're traveling on the northwest side of town. Let's take a look in the downtown area, I-65 and I-70 here at the North Split. The good news is, for the most part, the interstates are fairly clear from snow. May still have some slushy, slick spots out there, but just a heads up, in the past 12 hours, ISP Sergeant John Prine tweeting out that they have worked 105 crashes, 14 of those with injury, and 37 slide-offs. That's state police on roads that they patrol, so you need to be cautious no matter when you're heading out today, and we'll, of course, keep you updated.
An ad about weddings leads to, of all things, a divorce. The Hallmark Channel is now apologizing after pulling an ad featuring this same-sex couple. The ad features 2 women exchanging wedding vows. Conservative group 1 Million Moms posted a petition online calling for the ad's removal, saying it didn't align with the network's, quote, family-friendly content. Hallmark bowed to pressure and removed the ad last week, but yesterday, after threats of boycotts, the network didn't about face. In a statement, Hallmark apologized, saying it is committed to diversity and inclusion. The channel also says it will work to reestablish its partnership with the company who created the ad.
At 5:52, this looks like something straight out of a James Bond movie, a new luxury yacht that can turn into a submarine. It was dreamed up by an Italian-based naval architect. The hybrid vessel, known as the Carapace, the yacht there can dive into the depths of 985 feet for up to 10 days. It would hold 3 deck levels with VIP cabins, a lounge, spa, bar, and a health club, among other onboard amenities. Anyone, though, lining up to take a ride, be prepared to shell out hundreds of millions of dollars. And you do have a while to save. The designer says it's going to be a while before anything like this hits the waters.
A 5-year-old girl overheard a classmate's mother saying she was having a hard time paying for something, so she decided to step up. Coming up, the creative way she helped not only that student, but hundreds of others in need.
All right, Disney fans, listen up. Right now is your chance to win a family 4-pack of tickets to see Disney on Ice, Worlds of Enchantment. The magic will take place from January 22nd through the 26th at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. All you have to do is be the 6th caller right now for your chance to win. That number is 317-269-1459. And hey, if you don't win right now, we are giving away more tickets later this morning, so you just have to continue to watch. Good luck. It's 5:53. We'll be right back.
$0 deposit, 0 first month, and 0 due at signing.
A 5-year-old California girl has a heart filled with compassion for her classmates and a willingness to roll up her sleeves and help out. When Caitlin Hardy overheard another student's mother saying that she was having trouble paying for something, she knew she wanted to help. So she decided to set up a hot cocoa and cookie stand to raise money to pay off negative lunch balances at her school. After 3 hours of peddling the trades, Caitlin raised enough money to pay off the lunch balances for 123 students right in time for the Christmas season. An awesome story there, and what a great little gal. All right, Todd, we got to talk to you. We got to see what's going on in the forecast right now.
All right, things have quieted down from where they were yesterday evening and early this morning. There's a little bit of patchy fog out there. There's some drizzle. There's a few flurries, but nothing that's really going to impact your commute all that much that's at least falling from the sky. Obviously, the roads are slick and slushy in spots with temperatures hovering right around the freezing mark. However, we are not not done with the snow yet. While there's a little bit of a lull happening right now, more snow arrives this evening, mixing with some rain in southern locations as temperatures get up to right around 33 degrees. But a winter storm warning goes into effect starting at 2 p.m. for many counties here in central Indiana. And we're still expecting another 1 to 3, maybe even 4 inches of snow in spots. We'll break it all down for you coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on RTV6. The time now is 5:57. Stay with us. We'll be right back.